Hey guys, it's me, Dana Marie. Many of you know me through my Facebook page, Angel Light Aspirations. My guides have been nudging me for quite some time to start making videos to talk to you guys about my experiences. And I have just been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, but I can't put it off any longer. They just won't shut up about it. So I thought I would start off by talking to you guys about something that I absolutely love to talk about, and that is my spiritual awakening. My spiritual awakening was the result of what's called a mystical event. I was chatting with two girlfriends of mine on Facebook, Christina and Ray. And Ray had recently developed her mediumship abilities, and she had given me a reading a couple days earlier. So now she wanted me to give it a try. And I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just, try this for like 3 minutes, and when it doesn't work, I'll go on with the rest of my day. So she posts a picture of herself, and she tells me to look at it and to let her know whatever, comes to mind, whatever I see, hear, feel, smell, anything whatsoever. So I'm staring at her picture, and her face starts to change. And it's changing from everything from a younger version of her to an older version of her, and like 50 faces in between. And so I explained this to her, and she was laughing, and she said, ask them to come one at a time. So I didn't really know what was really going on at the moment, but I did what she said anyway. And all of a sudden, her picture changed to that of a man, I don't know, in his 40s, I guess, late 30s, 40s, wearing a blazer. And so I described him to her, and I also described her some things about him, as far as, he was well put together, people didn't know what he was really going through, these kinds of things. Things I didn't even know who I was looking at, basically. She knew right away who he was. Well, all of a sudden, the picture comes out of the screen, and he appears to be in this left-handed vision of mine, this field in the air. It was really bizarre. And it was nothing like I would have thought talking to spirit would be like. I mean, he was very much alive, very much excited. He was just like talking to you and I, only he was in this, field of vision that was here, instead of, flesh like you and I. Well, he starts showing me himself walking down the street, and he's got these things in his hand, and he's picking them up, and he's like, you see this? Here. And he's tossing it on the ground, and he's like, you like that? Here's another one. Look at that. And I'm like, Ray, he's tossing peanuts on the sidewalk. I don't know what's going on. Well, at this point, Christina starts to see him too. And she says, Dana, those aren't peanuts. Those are pills. Well, I didn't know he had a pill problem. I mean, of course, peanuts didn't make sense to me, but that's what it looked like. I don't know why I would have thought that they were peanuts and not pills, but anyway. So we established he was tossing pills on the ground. Apparently he had a pill problem when he was alive, and that's why he's not with us any longer. Anyway, while I'm talking to him, this Indian starts doing, I call it a dance, but he wasn't dancing. He was on guard with a spear in his hand, and he's, looking all around as if he was, totally encircled by lions or something that were ready to pounce on him any second. And so I say, Ray, there's this Indian dude in my head. So she's like, okay, what's his name? And here I'm thinking, I don't even know what to say to these, spirits. I wanted to talk to spirits my entire life. And here I am, here's some spirits, and I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm really just amazed at what happened, to say the least. So anyway, he tells me his name, and it's like some Indian name, like Ukalakawaki or something, and I mean no disrespect by that. I love Native American people. It just, even if I could pronounce it properly, I certainly wasn't going to be able to type it in a Facebook chat, you know, to the other two ladies on the other end in any way that they were going to understand what his name actually was. So I told her, I said, Ray, I can't pronounce it. And she said, okay, ask him what we can call him. So then the scene changes, and I mean, literally, there's like this movie playing out where he is on a horse and he's got a spear, and there's like this buffalo stampede, and it was like something out of National Geographic. It was, you know, we were like in the desert, and it was like where the riverbed is like almost dried up, and there's all these buffalo running, and he's on his horse, and he's ready to make his, you know, move. And he turns to me and he says, you can call me Great Buffalo Man. So I tell her, okay. He says, we can call him Great Buffalo Man. And then he starts like showing me and telling me how he was this, you know, great hunter for his village. He was very, very important to them. And then the scene changes to this really horrific scene where he was out hunting one day, and he comes back to find his village absolutely destroyed. And it was extremely graphic. I mean, I could smell the bodies burning. There were like, people were like staked, piled up, burning. It was absolutely horrible. And so I'm describing this to her, and he's showing me how he like walked up and saw all this, and he, you know, falls to the ground, was how I put it. But Christina starts to see it too, and she's like, he falls on his knees, and that's what I meant, but I said fell to the ground. And I'm like, you're seeing this too? And she's like, yeah. And she was able to actually determine what tribe he was with. Ray had asked me to find out, you know, what tribe he was with, and he's showing me a shield, and and there's, you know, all these symbols and whatever on his shield, and he's like showing it. He's like in my face with this shield, and I'm like, I don't know, like, but he was able to tell Christina, or she was able to hear anyway, that he's an Apache. And I mean, at this point, I'm bawling because of this horrible, horrible scene that I'm seeing. I still can't believe what's even happened to me. I felt like what he felt when he walked upon this, you know, horrible, tragic incident. And I just, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help him. I mean, it was life-changing, really. It really was. So, anyway, from there, Christina says, and Ray, I don't know how to tell you this, but you were Great Buffalo Man's wife. And I did not get that until she said it. Then the scene changed, and there was this like amazing body of water with this awesome tree behind it. I mean, like, if I were to like venture out west, I could find this spot. I mean, this is how clear and vivid and you know, amazing all of this was. So, and they're in this body of water, and there's a baby. She's holding a baby, and you know, they're just, it was like something from a Disney movie, basically, where they're, you know, the three of them, and they're loving this baby, and they're just having fun in the water, and you could feel the love that they all had for each other, and it was just very moving. So again, Ray, in her questions, she asked, well, what was my name? Well, again, it was unpronounceable. And he says, we can say it was Lotus Blossom, but he explains to me that it was actually the Indian name for the process of the flower blossoming. So it wasn't, the blossom itself, it's the name for the process of the flower blossoming, which I thought was like incredible. And I don't even recall what it may have even sounded like. But anyway, from there, Ray says, I gotta go. And I'm like, you gotta go? She's like, yeah, I gotta go to work. And I'm like, I'm sitting here, I'm bawling. I mean, my day did not get off to the kind of start that I had envisioned whatsoever. And now she was leaving me. And I still had Great Buffalo Man here, and I didn't know what to do. So she left. And Christina and I kind of carried on. She told me to ask my guides to wipe the images, to, thank Great Buffalo Man for his time and for sharing his story with us. And so that's what I did. I forgot to tell you, though, that while I was telling the story to Ray of what was going on, I felt this surge of energy come out of my chest. I mean, it was like this gust of wind, I don't even know how to describe it, came out and up. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? So, of course, I don't think we even really discussed it. It was just something that happened. And so after my guides wiped the images, which I could still see them because I remember. It's not quite something you ever will forget, really. Later that night, I had to go outside to go to my neighbor's house to give her something. And so I opened the door, and everything was glowing outside. It was pitch black, but the grass looked like it was like 3 feet tall, and it was green. The grass was dead because it was January, and our grass goes dormant here in Georgia in the winter time. But there was glowing green grass. And I looked at the trees, and the trees were totally encased in a bubble around them with green light coming off of them. And I was amazed at what I was looking at right now. And when I stepped on the grass to walk over to my neighbor's house, in an instant, I was shown how everything is connected. From the dirt under my foot to the stars in the sky. It just all went, in 10 seconds. I was like, everything's connected. It was crazy. It was like something on fast forward. Light speed or something. So anyway, that night, I'm going to bed, and my forehead is tingling, like somebody took icy hot or something and rubbed it on there, and then had a fan blowing on it. It was intense menthol feeling. It was incredible. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? This has just been the weirdest freaking day ever. But anyway, that was basically how my spiritual awakening started. After that, my chakras started to open, and I'm going to share more of my experience from that point on at a later point with you guys. But I hope that you enjoyed hearing about Great Buffalo Man, and stay tuned.